Hello, people. This is True Outlaw Patriot coming back at you with a really good tidbit. And I'm surprised that the mainstream media is not talking about this. And I'm also very surprised that the Republicans are not putting more pressure on this situation. This is a report that came out, I believe, about 3 weeks ago from The Hill. Um, and it talks about the Democratic delegate, Stacy Plaskett. Supposedly she has like ties with Jeffrey Epstein, and it's not something that just came out. It's something that's been rumored, but more proof has come out. An independent journalist went and broke the story, and it's really fucking beyond me how the media is not talking about this. You know, the Democrats talk about so much about transparency and caring about people, but you know, the dirt that gets uncovered by the Democrats is just that's why I keep saying that, you know, the things that they do is just wicked and demonic. And more um, you'll see as time goes on why so many people on the left and the news and the leftist news media, they keep ranking on that movie Sound of Freedom. And it's almost it's almost like mind-boggling to even think that this could be happening in America with a political party. um, and I'm not saying that it's only on one side, but it just seems that way. It seems like it runs really deep in the Democratic Party, and it's scary. It really is. And this is why I tell everybody at the end of my videos to stay vigilant and pray and keep praying for each other, because you know it just takes a matter of time before evil is exposed, corruption is exposed. But then it gets to the point, as we see now, the way things are going on with the Democratic Party, it's almost as if they just don't fucking care. They just throw it in your face. We don't give a shit. You know, we support pedophiles. We do this. We do that. You know, we support groomers. You know, everybody else has to just stay shut. But no. These are the things that need to be exposed. And like I said, this story, I just came across it just doing a little bit of reading online. But supposedly, I believe this came out about 3 weeks ago. And this is the first time I'm coming across this. Um, but, you know, people really need to open up their eyes and and realize who you need to realize who it is you're voting for. Okay, I know not everybody's perfect. I get it. Doesn't matter what party you vote for. You're gonna have your, you know, um, some people that you vote for that just, you know, they have, you know, stains in their past. But when it comes to like this woman, I seen her grill Matt Taibbi on the Twitter files, and I mean, like embarrassed, like trying to condescend him, saying that he's not a real journalist and shit. Very condescending, very cheeky fucking woman, you know. But yet she's over here, you know, doing deals with you know, with the devil. Let's just put it that way. Because Jeffrey Epstein, I mean, as soon as he got arrested, they should have nuked his fucking island. You know, the government should have just like liquidated all his assets, every fucking thing. But you'll see that this woman supposedly is saying in this video, and you'll see that she was left in charge of his shit, and supposedly she's still dealing with it, like I guess his real estate properties and shit like that. And it's beyond me. It truly is. And for this woman to act a fool in Congress as if she is some holy righteous person, and yet she is dealing with a person who has done heinous fucking crimes to innocent people, to innocent, mostly innocent children, you know, innocent teenagers. And this is why the Democratic Party, they fight and holler so much to keep everybody's eyes off of what's really going on. It's wicked. It's wicked, it's demonic, and it's just straight up fucking evil and wrong. But pay close attention. Here we go.
You may remember our coverage of U.S. Virgin Islands delegate Stacy Plaskett's ties to Jeffrey Epstein. Well, journalist Li Fong took a closer look and found that before Plaskett won a seat in Congress, she actually worked for Epstein's personal lawyer and tax accountant, known for peddling influence for the powerful pedophile. Investigative reporter Li Fong joins us now to expand on this. So great to see you, Li.
Good to see you.
So please tell us more about what you found. I think where we left the story off was evidence that she had wanted him to attend a fundraising event with full knowledge of who he was. This was up to, I think, just a year before his death. This was like 2018. So no pretending you didn't know what a monster he was, all of that kind of thing, the usual denials we get from people. This was full awareness. Tell us more about how deep her connections might have run.
Yeah, so the story that I wrote about Delegate Stacy Plaskett shows much deeper ties to Jeffrey Epstein than previously known. This is a sitting member of Congress, someone who votes in committee, who has a lot of influence in politics and the media, who, before she entered Congress in 2013 and 2014, worked for the boutique legal and accounting firm that served Jeffrey Epstein. This is Erica Keller Hall's firm in the Virgin Islands. We've seen in the media and so many reports, looking through documents, flight logs, connecting the dots of Jeffrey Epstein's network, that he cultivated influence with some of the leading private equity executives in this country, Leon Black and others, other corporate executives, political leaders, philanthropic leaders, prominent scientists and politicians. Well, here's someone who literally worked for one of Epstein's closest aides, someone who helped him peddle influence, win lucrative tax breaks, engage in a lot of the business deals, transfer the property that he used to molest and abuse women and engage in human trafficking, and who's still, connected to Epstein. Epstein, after he passed away, 2 days before he passed away, he signed documents to Erica Keller Hall that gave her control of his estate. She's continuing to work for his estate. So this was really one of Epstein's closest aides.
And your story paints the picture of a little bit of a cover-up here. You write that the 2 years during which Plaskett worked for Epstein's lawyer, those 2 years are notably missing from her LinkedIn account. And moreover, it's not just that she worked for this lawyer, but that she previously served as counsel on the Virgin Islands Economic Development Authority, which granted Epstein $300 million and allegedly improperly obtained tax exemptions over the course of 2 decades.
Yeah, this is really kind of an astounding fact about Epstein that has come to light in the last year with some of the latest litigation around his abuses. Epstein, purchased various properties in the Virgin Islands, of course, Little St. James Island, where he abused women, but also other properties. He domiciled there, and that was his residence. For his $500 million business empire, he received $300 million in tax exemptions over 20 years from the Special Economic Development Office in the Virgin Islands. He claimed that his company was a biotech startup studying gene technology, and therefore, needed special startup tax incentives. But there's no evidence that he engaged in any of this kind of startup activity. He just had property and financial investments. He improperly received these massive tax exemptions from excise tax, income tax, property tax, and there's still big questions about how he received these very lucrative tax credits given to him by this economic development agency, where Plaskett worked for several years. She then went through the revolving door to this specialized tax accountant legal firm, Erica Keller Hall's firm, that helped channel these tax credits to Epstein. And then
and this is why I say she worked for him and she's in charge. People say, no, it was the other woman. No, this woman was involved also. Okay? You got to think outside the box how things are done sometimes. It's it's filtering from one hand to the next, and more people come in power. So some people may say, no, your information is wrong. It was the other woman that was in charge. No, think about it. Okay? The other woman that's in charge of his stuff is somebody he paid to take care of his properties and taxes and stuff. This woman is a politician. Okay? Who's involved. Connect the dots, people. Connect the dots. It's corrupt political power dealing with evil, corrupt people. And this is how they do things. Just like right now, Biden was caught lying that he had no business, nothing to do with his son at all. And yet, he said that he never spoke to his son, he never dealt with his dealings, nothing like that. And yet, now the proof has come out that, yeah, they did have conversations. The proof has come out that, yeah, he was told about what his son was doing. So he lied. But Biden was on top. Okay? His son was the middleman dealing with foreign powers. Do you see how everybody thinks that all these corrupt people that are doing all these heinous things are doing it because they got too much money? Yes. But they're also backed up by corrupt politicians. So in essence, they're working for them. They're doing dirty deeds for them. And this is why I said, the look at why the left is so pissed off with that movie Sound of Freedom. It's called about child trafficking. How there's more. There's not just Epstein Island. There's interviews with people involved that said there's a lot more islands like that. People just don't go and buy an island, move on it, and live their life. No, it goes through political channels. The government has to approve it wherever, whatever country it is. There's politicians that have to do their job and say, okay, well, why do you want this island? What are you going to do to it? What kind of money you're going to make off of it? Are you going to build a resort? You're going to do it? It always goes straight to the top politically. And this is what people need to understand. Our country is no different than any other country, because obviously, if these islands are being bought, then that means, there's a lot of political influence and power behind the people that buy these islands, or what have you, whatever it is. And it's of course everybody's still asking the same question. Where is Epstein's client book? It makes you wonder why nobody, I'm not even gonna say nobody's asking for it. I mean, a lot of people have been asking for it, but the Democrats want nothing to do with it, and it makes you wonder why. Epstein was an evil motherfucker, but he also was smart and cunning to keep a log. Now the thing about it is, he was also stupid. He was stupid because had he been any smarter, he would have maybe made a couple of copies and gave it to other people and said, if anything happens to me, more people are going to go down. But I mean, I'm not trying to jump on his side, but is just the way these things are done that is just so, it's so deep rooted and diabolical. It's really heart-wrenching to think that there's people in Congress that have ties like this, and they can fucking go to sleep at night and not even think, when they close their eyes, of the people that they put in danger and not hear their screams. The victims have family members who love them, mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters. They have to go to sleep at night. And just imagine, without them wanting to, just imagine the horrors that their loved ones are going through, while these crooked motherfuckers go on stage and try to badmouth other journalists and condescend them. Meanwhile, deep down inside, they're living with such evil and wickedness inside of them. It's horrible. But let's keep on.
Went into Congress, and of course the documents paint many other interesting details. Stacy Plaskett was introduced to Epstein by Erica Keller Halls. Erica Keller Halls helped facilitate many of the direct donations to Stacy Plaskett, as Plaskett solicited Epstein in 2018, a year before his death, for $30,000 to the DCCC, the House Democrats' campaign arm. Again, that was...
Wow, look at that. $30,000, and these people knew. Epstein has been under the radar for years. And the Democratic Party talks so much about the Republicans, their lobbyists and this and that. And yet here they are collecting, taking donations. Taking donations. And if I had to guess, I don't think that Epstein went up to them and said, listen, I want to donate, because they could have easily said, we want nothing to do with you. If you ask me, there was a lot of politicians involved, and they said they strong-armed them. You're gonna give us some fucking money, and we'll keep our mouth shut. It's wicked. I mean, what the Democratic Party has become and what they've been up to for so long, it just supersedes what the mob has done throughout time. What other corrupt crime families has done. I mean, because even some drug cartels, not trying to jump on their side, but even some of them live by a code of not harming women and children. But the Democratic Party, they've got so many wicked people working for them that they don't care. They just don't care. It's like I said in one of my other videos about the 85,000 migrant children that have gone totally missing. It's 300,000, and they think that a lot of them are with family and friends and stuff like that, but they know for a fact that 85,000 have totally just vanished. And it's sickening. It's sickening. And this is why people need to go see Sound of Freedom. I had a friend of mine leave a comment on Facebook, and he had a son, God bless him. His son's 2 years old now, and I never thought he'd go see something like that, but he left a comment, and he said that it opened up his eyes big time. Big time. Because it could happen to anybody. It could happen to anybody's child, anybody. And yet you got the Democrats pushing to change boys and girls' sexes while other children are going missing. It is just sick. It's really fucking sick.
Erica Keller Hall is forwarding on that appeal.
And you write, in your Substack piece about this, that Plaskett has misled the public about the extent of her ties to Epstein, which I think is very interesting given how militant she was, that every I and T be exactly crossed and dotted in, for instance, Matt Taibbi's testimony about the Twitter files where, because of the not significant but and corrected error about which acronym was involved, not that, we've gone over why ultimately that doesn't matter, and in fact that agency was involved in the funding of this kind, was involved in the pressuring of the Twitter files. She, said that Taibbi should, reminding him that, perjuring yourself before Congress is a crime that could carry 5 years in prison. Has she been as honest as she demands everyone else be with respect to her own involvement with Jeffrey Epstein?
Look, earlier this month, Stacy Plaskett appeared on the NPR affiliate station in the Virgin Islands to address some of these accusations that have come out in these recent court filings. And she claimed that she was unaware of Epstein's donations and was alerted by the media. That's clearly not true. We see from the many emails that you covered on this program and what I covered in my story that she was actively soliciting Epstein's money, knew exactly who he was. And during the same interview, she claimed that she was the only politician who received Epstein money to then donate that money back to charity. That's clearly not true. Many Virgin Island local legislators who received this money donated money to charity. Chuck Schumer, who received Epstein donations, gave it to charity. These emails show.
Look at that, Chuck Schumer, good old Chucky boy. Chuck Schumer has been nothing but a two-headed snake in New York. I've never, ever, ever heard anybody say one good damn thing about Chuck Schumer back home in New York. Not one. It's always been criticism. Always been criticism. And he smiles. He had him, Gavin Newsom, I know he's not part of our country, but Justin Trudeau, people like that, look at the way they smile. They smile like alligators with the back of their teeth, like snakes. Look at their eyes. They're beady eyes. They smile. They're like snakes. And those are smiles of just wicked people. And it doesn't surprise me that Chuck Schumer would do this. And then put it on the guys that, we just took the money and gave it to charity. Bullshit. Bull fucking shit. They took the fucking money. They knew who they were dealing with. They took the money. They lined their pockets. They might have given some to charity. If they say they gave charity $30,000, I guarantee you it was $1 million fucking dollars that they actually took. A lot of these politicians become rich overnight, and it makes you wonder, like, nobody gets paid that fucking much, number one. Number two, nobody gets paid that much to do, seminars and stuff like that. I mean, it's ridiculous. The way this comes out, and it's funny that Chuck Schumer now supposedly is on an intel committee investigating UFOs now. Check that out. It's like, what the fuck are you doing that for? We got problems on Earth. Don't worry about what's going on in space. But you see whatever little stories they could come up with. Everything now is about UFOs and all kinds of bullshit. But yeah, look at all the news that's coming out with all these crooked politicians on the left. When it comes to money laundering and taking bribes and taking money from corrupt governments around the world and the child trafficking and the border crisis with children missing. Look at the way they're trying to take all that and then try to put all these other bullshit stories while the whole time still trying to go after to take Trump down. A man who hasn't been in office in 6 years, 7 years. It's mind-boggling. And I feel sorry for their constituents, the people that vote for them. They truly believe what they hear on CNN. They won't listen to this man right here. He's an independent journalist. Because they'll say, oh no, this is a guy, who's QAnon and he's a righty and this and that. And they won't listen to that. But they'll listen to Don Lemon and the rest of them, the rest of the clown show, and just make it seem as if, well, it doesn't matter. I'll still vote Democrat. And my answer to that is, listen, I'm not telling you not to be a Democrat. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, look at the people in your party, the ones you're voting for. Look at the corruption that they're in. People are bringing the checks. They're bringing the receipts to show this proof. And the only proof the left has for the other side, most of the time, is nothing but words. And their constituents on the left, they listen to words. They won't listen and look at the facts that are on paper, that are on video, that are on audio. In their eyes, it's like, no, that's not true. That wasn't me. Like the old saying, that wasn't me. In their eyes, it's like, that wasn't them. That wasn't them. That could have been AI generated. They'll come up with any fucking excuse. But hats off to this man for what he's saying.
That there was a very methodical political operation from Epstein and his aides. He wanted exemptions to sex offender law, so he didn't have to disclose when he was traveling in and out of the country. He wanted these tax exemptions. And he also wanted to make sure that he had no local critics. Cultivating people like Stacy Plaskett meant that he wouldn't have as many prominent local critics of his criminal behavior. And look, at the end of the day, Stacy Plaskett did donate the $8,000 in direct donations she received from Epstein. But we see from this recently disclosed, unsealed court deposition that Epstein and his aides actually bundled $30,000, in excess of $30,000 to Stacy Plaskett. She has not donated those bundle donations to charity.
Incredible.
There you go. I just said that. You see? So she donated out of the 30,000. She donated 8. Where's the other 22,000? You know? And if it was 30,000, was it just one time? Or was it 10 times? You know, I bet it wasn't just one time. Maybe one time to her, but she probably turned the finger and said, now you got to give this one and that one and this one. I mean, we know Chucky Boy must have got a fucking handout. I mean, you know, you heard what he said. Chuck Schumer took donations. Where did that go? I don't give a flying rat's ass if... Listen, the only way I would take money from a corrupt person, if he gave me all his money and said, I am changing my ways, I'm giving my life to God, take all my money and do good with it. I don't want a penny. I'm going to walk in the street like a homeless man. Then I will take that money and just throw it out in the fucking street for everybody to take it. But to take money from a crooked person knowing they're still doing corruption, you might as well fucking burn it. You might as well burn it. Because it's tainted with just blood. And I know people may say, well, it's the same thing if they gave it all to you and went straight. Yeah, but at least you can say, you know what? All right, if that's the way you want to be forgiven, it's not giving all the money away is not going to get you into heaven. Turning from your wicked ways will. You know, accepting God as your Lord and Savior, the Lord Jesus Christ, that will. But if you're going to continue to cause chaos, that's why I don't believe the Democrats when they say, oh, we took this and gave it to charity. What do you think? That's going to be a good fucking deed for you? But yet you let this man continue with his carnage, with his chaos, when you should have just went and got a court order from between the United States, the Virgin Islands, and every other country that ever had any kind of problem with Jeffrey Epstein. And like I said, they should have nuked that fucking island. They should have sunk it. But here we go.
And I don't suppose there's been much of a reaction, or I should just ask you, has there been any reaction from congressional Democrats about this or Republicans? And do you expect to find additional relationships as the J.P. Morgan case proceeds?
Well, look, as we've seen over the years of Epstein investigations, I mean, this was a bipartisan controversy. You know, there were Republicans and Democrats that were in the world of Epstein that, you know, traveled.
There you go. Both sides, like I said. And I'm not surprised. I'm definitely not surprised. You know, because I'll make no bones about it. I don't think that every Republican out there, every Republican politician is a good person. I really don't. So I make no bones about that. What I'm saying is that the corruption runs deep, way deep on the Democratic side.
On his jet and received his either philanthropic or political donations. So there really hasn't been turned into a partisan kind of issue where one side's looking into it. Both sides have so far ignored the latest revelations that we see in these court filings. We will see I think many more disclosures from this litigation that's going forward in the Southern District of New York. J.P. Morgan was sued by 2 parties last year, a number of victims of Epstein. That case has been settled. But then there's this ongoing case between the Virgin Islands and J.P. Morgan that has really revealed this entirely not new, but newly unearthed political network in the Virgin Islands that Epstein controlled. The governor of the Virgin Islands, Governor Bryan, is set to be deposed. We'll see if those deposition records are filed in the court and released to the public.
Incredible reporting as usual. Lee Fong, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
It's horrible. I say damn the politics and bring them all down. That's what I say. Because this is just something that but I'm glad that more people are speaking up. I'm glad that more proof is coming out. I'm glad that more people are digging into this. And this is what we're supposed to do, people. This is what we're supposed to do. You know, take these videos, plaster them all over social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Just copy and paste the link and send it through. Send it through. You know, like I said, start your own YouTube channel. Send it through. You know, at some point, people need to look at all this. Like if you're watching the movie The Lord of the Rings, the last one, where there was, I don't know, 10,000 of the good guys left, and everybody was coming out of, what was that, Saruman's castle, whatever, and they try to surround, you know, these guys that were fighting, and all of a sudden Frodo threw the fucking, or pushed Smeagol or whatever the hell it was into the lava, and the ring dissipated, and all of a sudden the Eye of Saruman or whatever it was, you know, died, and then that big wave came and just started killing all the orcs, and it showed how it just destroyed all of them as they were trying to fucking run and flee. And meanwhile, the earth around it was breaking, and the good guys that were standing there in a little circle on a rock, while everything around them just collapsed and crushed, and was just taking all those evil motherfuckers down to the pit. That's the way it's going to be. If these people that are committing this evil, if they think that, oh, you know what, we're good, we're in control, we're this, oh no, when God's hand comes down, it's going to come down. And anybody that keeps ignoring this, things like this, you know, and I feel so sad and heartbroken inside for the young people that they're not engaging in this, but the young people that are being brainwashed to think that all the sexuality and everything that the left is pushing, that's okay. That they can go and be the next generation of freedom fighters for the gay cause, or for whatever cause it is that pulls them away from God, you know, that pulls them away from their family, that pulls them away from their parents. They think is okay, and it's sad. It's really sad. So people need to start waking up and start speaking up. You know, evil, it does not matter what anybody says. Okay? Evil will not win in the end. But anyway, I hope you like this video. I know it's a little longer than usual. Please subscribe, thumbs up, comment, pass it around. And remember, stay vigilant, keep praying, and pray for each other. Peace.